Hi, I'm John Fraser with the Polaris Travel Experts YouTube channel. Welcome to this 360 video where we take you through our day tour of the Temple of Karnak. This was the first stop we had on the Nile portion of our Egypt tour with Exoticca and really kicked things off right. This is meant to be a companion video to our 5-minute review of our Egypt tour with Exoticca. One important tip for this video is that it is 360. If you find yourself staring at the ground or a random wall, simply spin the camera around to see the good stuff. You start off in the visitor center where we are right now. You can see there's a full-scale model of the temple that can give you an idea of how big the complex is. You can also see litters that were carried almost 2 miles between here and the Temple of Luxor. During the video, we will give you some background and brief history. Many thanks to our incredible guide, Tony Habib, for allowing us to share his explanations. If you have the opportunity to go on a tour, you should definitely request Tony as your guide. We will also give you information you should know before you go, and tips.
Animal figure and human figure. So the animal figure is called Amun-Ra, it's the head of the ram and the body of the lion. Why the ram? Because the ram is very fertilized animal. Lion is very strong. So they want to say our God, fertilized like the ram, strong like the lion. That's been made by King Ramses II, so that's why there is a human figure between the 2 legs of the ram. That's for Ramses himself. That means Ramses is protected by the king of the gods, Lord of the Lord. In front of each statue used to have a little bushes, little tree, be grown in here, and it used to be irrigated by these canals. See the canals of water? So once you enter the temple, you hear the sound of the water, the tree gives a good shade and a good smell. These statues used to be covered. And used to be, we talk about 1350 BC. Right? So let's go this way.
The day tour of Karnak was included in the cost of our base package with Exoticca and is followed up by a tour of the temple at Luxor. You can check out our video of the Temple of Luxor via a link in the description below this video.
So the mud brick that you see to the right, this was a ramp. That's what they used to haul the stones up to build the wall. And then after they finished that, they would use the bricks to create a barrier from the water.
Tip number 1. There is an optional night tour of the complex for an additional fee. It was worth it in my opinion, as the lights really bring out some of the hieroglyphics that are difficult to see during the day, and they do a nice show with lights and dramatic accounts of the history of the temple.
Yeah, everybody can see? And the words up there written in Arabic. Can anyone read it? No? Thank God, so I can read it. And the name even written in Arabic. That says Fayadan. Fayadan means flood. So the water level used to be up that high, and the date here is 1887. So 1887 AD, the water used to be up that high. After the temple being abandoned, people start taking the mud bricks, wall, and take the bricks, build their houses like that. Made the water close inside. So that's why the Morocco Let's go this way. So here, can you all hear me, yeah? We are here in the hall of the pillar, which it has 134 pillars. That makes you wonder, why 130 pillars, yeah? Imagine you're building a house for a very important man, or VIP people. They always require to have a garden in front of their house, yeah? Even some of the houses now have a garden in front. So imagine you're building a house for the most important god, or the king of the gods. It has to have a garden in front. So the ancient Egyptians figured out if they grow trees in here, it will not last forever. So they made their pillars to be the same as their trees, their god. So that's why look at the colors. See the colors? If you go back in time, it used to be white background, very colorful pillars. Even the capital of the pillars are open papyrus, open flower, or closed flowers on the side. So 134 pillars cannot be finished in the time of one king. So 3 kings joined to build in here. The oldest one, the one in the middle, belonged to a king called Amenhotep III from the 18th dynasty. We talk about 1500 BC, and the heights of them is about 22 meters high. the capital is like an open papyrus, right? 100 years later, city the first. The following 1 second, about 61 in the north, shorter than the one in the middle. These are 22, the one in the north is 18. Right? But the capital of them is closed papyrus. Then 1 second, the one who ruled for a long time, built 61 from the south. So 61, this is what is harder by the way. 61 and 61, 122.
Our first interesting tidbit is you may recognize different parts of the temple from movies. Scenes from Death on the Nile and The Spy Who Loved Me, shout out to the James Bond and Agatha Christie fans out there, were shot here. Tip number 2. You'll be visiting 2 temples on this day and it can be really hot. We brought water, but we also purchased Cokes and cold waters on the bus. It was only $1 or $2 and they accepted US currency, but they only took cash. Definitely bring cash with you for souvenirs and tipping.
Okay, come. You stand in shade. I get used to this heat, you know, but you're not. So get to the shade. Okay. So we are in front of the obelisk. You see the obelisk? Yeah? The obelisk has to be one piece, by the way. So this is one piece of rock, one piece of red granite. Why the obelisk is very important? Because it's one of the symbols of God Ra. So it's like pointing to God Ra, the sun disk, you know? And it's very thin, like pointed to the god. The obelisk was carved so the kings can write their names in cartouche, as you see, and their war, so it can be seen from above by the sun god Ra. The quarry of the obelisk is not in Luxor. The quarry of the obelisk is in Aswan, right? So if you wouldn't mind, I know I will lose a lot of credit by drawing some rubbish drawing, you know, but I bet you forgive me, yeah? Okay, if you come this way, so you'll be able to see. So first of all, the ancient Egyptian kings used to live in Luxor here. So they used to send their geologists from here to Aswan, to the quarry. The geologist used to draw the shape of the obelisk with, not in this funny shape, yeah, okay? With an angle shape, like 45 degrees, right? And then they used to make shafts, you know, shafts, like holes. And then they start to fill these shafts by wood. And then they pour hot water and leave it for 2 days. What will happen to the wood? Expand. Thank you very much. Alessandra. Isabella, sorry. So, Isabella said the wood expand, break the edges of the obelisk. In the quarry of red granite, we have a harder stone than the granite called diorite. They use a diorite and above their hand as a hammer, and they start to be cutting the granite by diorite. Like in a corridor for the workers, okay? They leave the last part attached to the quarry. Then they start to prepare a huge boat underneath on the ground, because the ground is more stable, you know, the land is more stable. Once they cut the last part with the same idea, they slide it to goes on the boat. And then they start to dig a canal from the quarry to the River Nile. So when the River Nile floods, the boat floats. They pull it from the quarry by ropes, and then the Nile bring it all the way by the flood from Aswan to Luxor. How do you make it stand? Because it's a huge weight. No cranes at the time, you know. So they used to prepare a room. They start to fill this room by sand, okay? And they leave 2 holes at the bottom of these rooms, and they close these 2 holes by 2 pieces of wood. Then they prepare the base of the obelisk, higher on the back, and they fill this room by sand, as I told you. 5,000 workers used to be working here. They used to pull the obelisk up to halfway. That's the back of it, that's the top. Then they start to move the wooden blocks. What will happen to the ramp of sand? It will go lower, lower, lower. They imagine the technique, you know, until the obelisk stand in its place. So that's their technique, 1550 BC. So this one being made by Thutmose I, the grandson of Ahmose, the one who made Egypt free from the invaders in the Middle Kingdom. And it's one single piece of red granite, and it weighs 256 tons, like 256 pounds. Right? Thutmose I ruled, you're not bored, you said, yeah, you promise, you're not bored, yeah? Thutmose I ruled while the country was stable, no more wars, no more invaders. So instead of waiting for the invaders to come and invade Egypt in our homeland, he made battles against the invaders in their homeland. Like attack is better than defense, right? He was having 2 sons and 1 daughter. So unfortunately, he lost his 2 sons in one of the battle. He took good care of his own daughter, and her name was Hatshepsut. Maybe this name looks familiar for you, yeah? Hatshepsut. He wanted his daughter to rule with him, so she shared rule with her father for 10 years. When you put a woman in power, they stick. Too late to get them off, you know? They stick to it. They never leave it. No, not easy. So, because she ruled with her father, she liked it. When her father died, it wasn't an accepted idea by the commoners to rule by a lady or a queen by herself. She had to marry her stepbrother. By the way, they used to marry the half-brother or stepbrother to keep the royal blood pure. And to be able to rule, you have to have a wife from the royal blood. So she married her stepbrother. His name was Thutmose II, right? But as we all the wise men know, happy wife,
Happy life.
thank you very much. Excellent. You're a wise man. So, happy wife, happy life. He didn't make her happy. So she turned his life upside down, Thutmose II, and she pushed him out of Luxor here and made him go and live in Memphis. Memphis used to be the capital of the Old and Middle Kingdom. It was a bandit city. Not many people living there, you know. So he's not considered to be a king. So when he went to live in Memphis, he married a second wife. From his second wife, he has his only son. He named him Thutmose III. Right? Then the priest of Amun-Ra, names are difficult, yeah?
No, wait, you first.
So, Thutmose III, alright? Then the priest of Amun-Ra, they managed to play a good role, so they convinced him, so he came and lived with Hatshepsut. When they start to live together, they have daughters only. When Thutmose II died, he has 1 son, as I told you, Thutmose III, who happened to be 14 years old boy. So they brought him from Memphis. He married the daughter of Hatshepsut. So now Hatshepsut is his aunt and his mother-in-law, right? To be able to rule, as I told you, you have to have a wife from the royal blood. So he started to be ruled, and he was a 14 years old. They made him under her jurisdiction because they said to him, Hatshepsut has a good experience ruling with her father and ruling with her husband, right? Hatshepsut didn't like it to be ruled by this young boy. So she started to get very close to the high priest, and his name was Senmut, right? So Senmut convinced the young pharaoh, Thutmose III, to go to the military, put him aside, and told him, you need to go to the military to be trained to be a good warrior like your father. He was an honest man, you know. He thought he could send him to the military for 6 months, 1 year maximum. Guess what? They sent the military, kept him there for 20 years. At this time, Senmut, the high priest, came in front of the crowd and said, God Amun-Ra, the king of the lords, liked Hatshepsut, his daughter, very much, and he converted her from a woman to be a man. So she started to dress like men. That's her statue, by the way. You see in the gate? You see the statue for a man, yeah? Dressed as a man. Used to wear the fake beard. When she used to write letters to the people, she used to write, I am Hatshepsut, the king of Egypt. And she ruled acting like a man 20 years. Even her tomb is in the valley of the king, not in the valley of the queens. Right? So she started to act like a man. 20 years. And then when she died, she had to prove that she's definitely a man, yeah? So that's why she has to build obelisks, or she had to build temples for the gods. So she built her temple that we're going to go and see it tomorrow in the west bank of Luxor. It used to be the first temple to be built by limestone, not sandstone like these temples, by the way.
You'll see 2 things in this video if you spin the camera: the lake where the priests bathed before entering the temple, and a scarab beetle. Legend has it, if you walk around the beetle 3 times, you will have good luck. If you walk around 7 times, your wife will become pregnant. Yep, 3 times is good for me. At the end of the tour, you have time to look around on your own. There are a ton of buildings, statues, and minor temples at the back of the complex. In some places, you can actually still see some of the colors that used to adorn the walls. So much to explore and so much fun.
Check out the hieroglyphics. You can still see like the color there. So is this the temple here? I think it's the temple, right? Because they carried it through the pillars to get back to the temple.
Yeah.
And look, you can still see like the blue color on this too.
As we wrap up the video, make sure to spin the camera as we walk right next to the obelisks and then make our way through the giant pillars discussed earlier in this video. Tip number 3, another drink tip here. Drinks were not included in our tour package on the Riverboat. We purchased a liter bottle of orange Fanta, for some reason that sugary drink really hit the spot, and took it back to the boat. There were multiple vendors selling them outside the temple after the night show. That saved us a little money not buying drinks from the bar. There is so much to see and learn about at the Temple of Karnak. Even though we saw so many incredible things on our trip, this was definitely one of the highlights. I remember talking at dinner that night and saying that if this is all we saw, the trip would have been worth it. It seems like we said that at the end of each day though, so yeah, we definitely recommend this tour. Thanks for checking out this episode of 360 Tours. If we've inspired you to travel and you're not already working with a travel advisor, consider giving our team of experts an opportunity to help you plan your next great adventure. If you're enjoying our videos, give us a like below, or better yet, subscribe to our channel so you can stay up with all of our latest content. Till we see you again, travel and be well.
Check out the hieroglyphics. You can still see like the color there. So is this the temple here? I think this is the temple, right? Because they carried it through the pillars to get back to the temple.
Yeah.
And look, you can still see like the blue coloring on this too.
Yeah.